Good evening. Tonight's special edition coverage on Nile TV International is about Egypt's chairing of the informal consultations held by the African Union's Peace and Security Council at the ministerial level regarding developments in Sudan and elsewhere. And Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Corporations and Egyptians Abroad, Badr Abdelati, chaired these informal meetings. In his remarks, Abdelati reiterated Egypt's unwavering position in support of Sudan's unity, territorial integrity and the preservation of its national institutions. Of course, also rejecting any attempts to divide Sudan. The top diplomat also talked about Somalia and Egypt's support for Somalia's territorial integrity and sovereignty, and its rejection of the Israeli recognition of the so-called Somaliland. It was a busy day for the foreign minister, who held on the sidelines of the summit a number of meetings with his African counterparts on boosting ties and enhancing cooperation and coordination over regional files of mutual concern. With us here in the studio is Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, the international relations expert. Good evening, Dr. Ezaby. Thank you as always for being with us here on Nile TV International. So, Dr. Ezaby, a very busy day for the foreign minister indeed. He also talked about the Nile waters, the Nile Basin file, and as we mentioned, he met with his counterparts from several countries, including Algeria, Tunisia, Angola, Tanzania, Comoros, Kenya, Equatorial Guinea, and Zimbabwe. Now, Dr. Ezaby, the Minister of Foreign Affairs chaired the informal consultations held by the African Union's Peace Council, which Egypt chairs for this month of February. You talked about Sudan. Let's focus on Sudan first of all. So, how do you weigh Egypt's role in Sudan and in preserving security and peace in the continent at large?
Well, from the beginning, we know that Egypt and His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi put many red lines in Sudan. And it is a policy of Egypt that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi insisted that we want to preserve the unity of Sudan land. We want to encourage the national military of Sudan. We don't need any weapon troops, other troops in Sudan. So Egypt make great efforts to support the Sudanese National Army, also by accepting many thousands of refugees, Sudanese refugees in Egypt. We can say that about 2 million Sudanese refugees in Egypt. Also, what Egypt had done by sending the humanitarian aid to Sudan, also they support Sudan government and the international council like the United Nations and national security. So many efforts made by Egypt government and His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and these efforts continued today by Dr. Badr Abdelati, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in the meetings of ministerial and African Security Council in Africa. He insisted to say the red lines, Egyptian red lines in Sudan, insist to support the national military of Sudan, insist to say that no country in Africa will accept to divide the land of Sudan to 2 countries or 3 countries, and didn't want to support any militia in Sudan, and we need to support the national military to stop war and try to rebuild what happened, what destroyed in Sudan.
Right, and the council today, Dr. Ezaby, in Addis, the African Union's Peace and Security Council, chaired again by Egypt this month in the meetings in Addis Ababa, the council again called for an immediate comprehensive ceasefire in Sudan, civilian protection, unrestricted humanitarian access, support for refugees and internationally displaced people, disarmament, security there, and also stressed the need to resume a comprehensive dialogue, and condemned external interference, and reiterated its firm rejection of parallel governments. The African Union reiterated its firm rejection of what it described as a parallel government announced by the Sudan Founding Alliance linked to the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF militias. So do you see things, you know, coming closer to the Egyptian vision?
Well, I think that we will see ceasefire soon, especially that Egypt tried to make a meeting between Al-Burhan and Hameti to save civilians and to save the unity of Sudani land. Many African countries support ceasefire in Sudan and encourage to discuss made a new government that save the unity of Sudan. So Egypt made great diplomatic efforts to do this with the Council of Peace and Security, African Peace and Security Council, and the United Nations, especially that many European land refused and rejected what happened from the militia in Sudan, especially the massacres happened to the civilians, women and the children by the militia of Hameti, and started to make some efforts to stop these massacres. Egypt and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia made a unity efforts to force both sides to ceasefire. Also, the Arab and Islamic countries supported this ceasefire. So I think we will see this soon.
Right, and Dr. Abdelati met with a number of his counterparts in Addis on Thursday, and we mentioned some of these countries whose top diplomats he met, and he also met with the foreign ministers of Nigeria as well as Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. So these meetings and these diplomatic meetings, the bilateral meetings within the framework of multilateral diplomacy, how do you see Egypt's current place in the heart of Africa, its diplomacy, its peace and security, and its development?
Well, we can say that from the beginning that His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi be the President of Egypt, he started to get back the position of Egypt as a leader of Africa. We support all African countries. We make cooperation with many African countries. So these bilateral meetings with Dr. Badr Abdelati is a continuous efforts for what President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi gave instructions to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to unify the situations to African countries, especially that African countries suffer from many struggles, such as what is happening in the Horn of Africa, what is happening in Sudan and Nigeria. Many countries have suffered from many troubles. So Dr. Badr Abdel Ati tried to unify the situation of African countries towards these problems, and try to make to find solutions, especially for what's happening in Somalia, and by Israel confessing by Somaliland, and also Egypt put a red line that no way to divide Somalia to two countries, no way to make Israel to control the marine and the Red Sea by supporting Somaliland. So Dr. Badr Abdel Ati in these meetings tried to unify the African situations towards African problems.
Yes, and indeed, Dr. Ezaby, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Egyptian expatriates did meet with his Somali counterpart, Abdeslam Abdi Ali, and talked about the issues related to the Horn of Africa, Egypt's support, as you mentioned, for Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity and unity, and its rejection of the recognition by Israel of the so-called Somaliland. And Egypt seems to be very serious also on the issue of Somalia, just like it is on the issue of Sudan, when it has reiterated more than once that it will not allow, it will simply not allow any divisions to happen there.
One of the main efforts that done by Egypt, that they sent military troops to Somalia under the umbrella of the African Union and the United Nations. So Egypt supports the unity of Somaliland and supports
of Somalia, of course, yes.
Somalia.
Yes.
Also support the Somalia army and reject any kind of divide Somalia to two countries by sending these troops, and not only Egyptian troops, but African troops also are in Somalia.
Right.
So Egypt will not let Somalia alone, as a kind of Egypt as a leader of African countries. So we need to be in the focus of all struggles in Africa, and try to put an end for these struggles so soon by any way. But Egypt, as a country of peace, try to take the diplomatic solutions before any other solutions.
Right, Dr. Ezaby, and Foreign Minister Abdel Ati again reiterated on Thursday Egypt's categorical rejection as well of any attempts by non-Red Sea countries, non-Red Sea bordering countries, to exploit the situation in the Horn of Africa and try to establish a military foothold on its coasts, something which would constitute a clear violation of the principles of sovereignty and exacerbate regional tension in the region. So again, I guess this is an important point when Dr. Abdel Ati says Egypt categorically rejects any attempts by non-Red Sea bordering countries to have a foothold in the Horn of Africa.
He mentioned Ethiopia, that Ethiopia tried to take a port on the Red Sea, and it is not on the Red Sea country. So Egypt reject any kind of Ethiopian to take any port on the Red Sea. So Ethiopia, we know that supports Somaliland to take this port in Somalia. So Egypt, when said that we reject any any country,
non-Red Sea border countries.
Non-Red Sea border country to have any port on the Red Sea. It means that
or a military foothold there.
Yes, he mentioned Ethiopia, but didn't say it clearly.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, not by name. It was not by name, but everybody
understand what you mean.
So, Doctor, so this is diplomacy after all. Dr. Ezaby, also there was something today regarding the Nile water file, and this is a file that's vital to Egypt, and the President has said more than once that this is an issue of existence. I mean, the Nile waters, and he met Dr. Abdulati today with the Ugandan State Minister for Foreign Affairs. Uganda, of course, is a Nile Basin country, and he also met with the South Sudanese Foreign Minister. South Sudan is also, of course, a Nile Basin country.
Well, after Donald Trump announced that United States is mistaken to support the Nahda Dam in Ethiopia.
The Renaissance, yes.
Yeah, and he want to solve this problem. So President al-Fattah al-Sisi said he thanks Donald Trump in his support to Egypt in the issue of the Nile problem with Ethiopia. And Egypt try to make other solutions like the canal in Uganda to connect the Nile of South Sudan by Uganda and didn't need to the dam of Ethiopia, but also we insist to solve this problem diplomatically by Egyptian effort by Dr. Badr Abdulati and His Excellency President al-Fattah al-Sisi. So the problem of the Nile is a vital problem for Egyptian people, and President al-Fattah al-Sisi will not leave this problem to make any danger to the life of Egyptian people, and I'm sure he will solve this problem soon.
And if you look around, Dr. Ezaby, and you see the Egyptian relations with all African countries, with its Arab neighbors in the north of Africa, with Sudan, with the west of African countries like Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, with very good relations with South Africa in the south, with the Nile Basin countries, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, South Sudan, and others, with Sub-Saharan Africa, with... You feel that Egypt has very good relations really with all of Africa.
I said that from the beginning that President al-Fattah al-Sisi, starting to be a president of Egypt, he gave a great care to have relations with African countries, especially before President al-Fattah al-Sisi. Our relations with African countries is not good like now. So African countries have have many treasures, have many supplementary for life. So if we have a cooperation between Egypt and the African countries, so we can cooperate in many fields like agriculture, like water, like infrastructure for Egyptian companies. So by supporting these relations, Egypt will take many advantages in African countries, and didn't let African countries to be in the hand of Israel and other countries.
Nor in the hands of potential terrorism.
Yes.
And we see here that Dr. Abdulati, again, who met in Addis with a great number of his counterparts, including the Nigerian and Ghanaian and Ivorian counterparts. In his meeting with the Ghanaian foreign minister, the issue of combating terrorism was reviewed, and the role of Al-Azhar in leading initiatives to settle disputes, and this very moderate and leading force in the Islamic world, Al-Azhar. And also in Dr. Abdul Ati's meeting with his Nigerian counterpart, they talked about boosting security and military cooperation and combating terrorism, efforts of combating terrorism and maintaining peace on the continent. The same in his meeting with the Ivorian.
Many African troops are trained in Egypt to face terrorism, especially that we know that there is a group of Boko Haram in Nigeria and other countries, African countries. So by the great experience of Egypt to face terrorism and end terrorism in Egypt, so Egypt tried to train African troops to face this terrorism, and face it by two ways, one by troops and the other by Al-Azhar rule, to give the real Islamic point of view and try to kill the ideas of terrorism in African countries.
So, as we see, Dr. Al-Ezaby, and as we wrap up, so Egypt in the heart of Africa, cooperating with all of Africa on many files, and you mentioned how, you know, the economic cooperation could happen, or the integration, how the Africans can benefit from Egyptian expertise in infrastructure. You mentioned the pharmaceuticals area. Of course, Egypt has a lot of doctors and engineers who are out there working for Africa's development. At the same time, Egypt also needs its African brothers, and the integration really, I guess, is very important and is a win-win situation for everybody.
Well, we know that Egypt made many projects in African countries. We made some dams in African countries. So, as you said, win-win situation. Egypt gave his experience in the field of infrastructure to African countries, and Egypt took many benefits from African countries, and it gave a position to Egypt in African countries as a leader, especially Dr. Badr Abdul Ati from 5 days in his speech with Sputnik. He said that we need to give the African continent his rights in Security Council.
Yes.
Yeah, and African countries didn't have the rights to veto in Security Council, and we want to be acted by more than 2 countries. Especially that African countries is 52 countries, and we need a fair representative in Security Council.
Yes, absolutely. Very important remark that you reminded us of, Dr. Al-Ezaby. Dr. Abdul Ati had asked for United Nations Security Council reform, and he had said that there was historical injustice against Africa, and as you mentioned, he asked for 5 non-permanent seats in a newly expanded Security Council that can reflect, or should reflect, Africa's size and influence, and again,
and population.
Yes, and the population. By the way, I mean, Africa is one of the richest, if not the richest continent when it comes to resources. But colonialism and imperialism and occupation and slavery at times, and, you know, has taken much of its fortunes, and still, I mean, there are these forces who are, you know, messing around in Africa, trying to exploit it and take away its resources. And look at what's happening in Sudan, for instance.
Well, African countries is very rich by many resources, especially minerals in Africa. So many European countries try to take this treasures, these resources. African countries didn't have a way to take their treasures from their lands. So Egypt tried to help African countries as a kind of win-win. But many countries didn't want to this relation to be more successful, try to let the African countries in a poor life to still need the other countries. So if Egypt succeed to support the African countries to take their treasures from minerals, so African countries will be the richest countries in the world.
Absolutely, and Egypt always a voice for Africa. On that note, we thank you very much for watching us here on Nile TV International, and on behalf of you, dear viewers, we thank very much Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, the international relations expert. Always a pleasure to have you with us, sir, and hope to see you again.
Thank you very much.
And do please stay with Nile TV. In less than 15 minutes time, we'll be back with a comprehensive news update here, so please don't go far.